Spider-Man versus Wolverine. It's a fight that we've seen play out plenty of different times in comics. These guys sure do fight a lot for being friends. But who really should be winning all these fights? And honestly, should it really even be that close? Well, let's get into it. James Logan Howlett is Wolverine, a mutant but one of the most important members of the X-Men. Born in the 1800s with a remarkable healing factor, Logan has lived a lot of life, being a soldier, a samurai, an outlaw, and a living weapon formed by Task Force X. But now, Wolverine is at his best as a hero, working with both the X-Men and the Avengers to protect humanity and mutant kind from all sorts of threats. Being a mutant, well, one of Wolverine's mutant powers is superhuman abilities like super strength and speed. He's comparable in a lot of ways to Captain America himself, the original super soldier. And Logan's been able to actually overpower and throw around Spider-Man, Sabretooth. He's even literally thrown around Colossus before. He's able to easily tear through metal, snap steel chains. He's routinely able to pick up hundreds of pounds or even a few tons with relative ease, and has absolutely no problem with throwing around superhumans with his punches, even up to and including the likes of Vision and Namor. Yeah, Wolverine is surprisingly strong. He's also surprisingly fast. Like, Wolverine's got no problem with moving way faster than his opponents can even keep up with. And that even includes other superhumans, like Spider-Man, who's maybe the fastest and most agile street-level character in Marvel, while he's routinely surprised and caught off guard by Wolverine's speed and reflexes. He's able to routinely dodge or block bullets or laser blasts headed his way, even after the bullet's been fired or at point-blank range. But of course, to be fair, Wolverine doesn't always use this type of speed in fights. He can when he needs to, but he very rarely needs to dodge attacks because he knows he can always just simply take the attack and heal from it. In fact, sometimes he likes to take a few attacks at the start of a fight to get the blood flowing and get amped up, or he'll sometimes simply press the attack and go all offense and not have to worry about defense at all. And that leads into Wolverine's greatest power, his healing factor and durability. His skeleton is covered entirely in adamantium, which means that he literally cannot be cut or torn apart. And trust me, plenty of people have tried. It also greatly increases his durability too. Like, Wolverine's been kicked clean around the world, been just fine. He's taken all sorts of punches and attacks from some of the strongest beings on Earth, ranging from Hulk to Thor to plenty more, and he's been just fine. He can take bullets absolutely no problem. It really doesn't even faze him. He's able to keep on fighting while being all stabbed up or turned into a pincushion. Doesn't really do much. He's kept on fighting after having his heart destroyed on multiple occasions. He can heal and come back from literal disintegration. The guy's even survived nuclear bombs several times over. Wolverine is dang near impossible to put down. He might be injured, but Logan is always going to heal from it, and he's always going to come back, no matter what. And it's not just that Wolverine is this raging brute who solely relies on his healing factor, although he definitely does act like this from time to time. But he's actually one of the most skilled fighters and best warriors in the whole Marvel universe. His adamantium claws are able to shred through anything in their path. They can pierce through Hulk, Thor, Thanos, Gladiator, and as for less durable opponents, well, Wolverine can slice and dice them into little pieces in an instant. No problem. He's said to be an extremely deadly fighter, renowned across the universe for his skill. And he's skilled enough to casually defeat master martial artists and hold his own or even beat the likes of Captain America, Black Panther, Iron Fist, and Shang-Chi. So literally, some of the best fighters in Marvel, and he only gets more dangerous and more deadly in his Berserker Rage. It's where he goes hyper-violent and becomes even more powerful and even more deadly, instantly overwhelming most any opponent in his path, and it's like compressing days of non-stop fighting into just a few minutes or seconds. In short, Wolverine is the best at what he does, and what he does isn't pretty. However, when you take all that, everything I've just said, and throw it out the window, because now we're talking about the OG Spider-Man, good old Peter Parker. Like with strength, well, he's able to easily throw around cars and trucks, even lift subway cars clear over his head, or even private jets. Heck, Peter is able to lift up one of those massive construction cranes, or even basically help support and lift up buildings all by himself. And man, Spidey can use all that strength and throw one heck of a punch. He's been able to fight against some of his toughest villains, Venom, Rhino, Electro, and punch them clean through buildings. That's just a regular thing for him. On one hand, Peter can knock out a guy with just one finger, and on the other hand, he can actually injure the Hulk. No doubt about it, Spider-Man is stupid strong. He's also incredibly tough. Spider-Man has taken punches from Juggernaut, Hulk, Apocalypse, Hercules, and Gladiator, been just fine. Spider-Man actually rests by letting normal people punch him. That's how tough he is. He's taken lightning from Thor, over 100,000 volts of electricity, and okay, he's taking grenades at point blank range, repeatedly taking blasts and attacks from different Iron Man armors. Spidey's even survived a Scud missile exploding right on top of him. He's pretty much immediately recovered from nerve strikes from Iron Fist. Spider-Man is also pretty much immune to any toxin or chemical attack because his body can just instantly filter it out. His body's even held off enough toxin to wipe out an entire city. Then finally, Spider-Man is legit one of the fastest and one of the most agile characters in all of comics. He's able to move faster than the eye can see and just appear like a blur to even well-trained fighters. He can literally move across miles in just seconds. And forget just simply dodging bullets. That stuff is too easy for Spider-Man at this point. He's legit dodging lightning and dodging energy blast. Even energy blasts that are supposedly faster than light itself. And all that translates into Spider-Man routinely being able to speed blitz most opponents he goes up against, even with the likes of Black Panther or Daredevil or other master martial artists. Even though they might be more skilled than Pete, Spider-Man is just so much faster that he's gonna land his hits anyways. Spider-Man also has the perfect counter to pretty much anything that comes his way, his spider sense. Spider-Man will know every move that his opponent's about to make, just because his spider sense is gonna tell him. And the spider sense isn't just a warning system telling him when he's about to get hit, but it's also essentially a radar, giving him complete awareness of all his surroundings. There's also Spider-Man's web shooters to take into account. They've been able to restrain the likes of Iron Man, even Hercules, and other gods. On top of that, Spider-Man's webbing is basically fireproof, acid-proof, and nearly impossible to cut through. And Peter also isn't really a bad fighter either. In fact, Spider-Man has worked with the top martial arts expert in Marvel, Shang-Chi, to develop his own personal fighting style called the Way of the Spider, meant to enhance his spider powers and give Peter some measure of fighting skill. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, like we said, these two have fought a lot of times in comics. They've always been very, very well matched. They each definitely have their own advantages over the other. Like Spider-Man is clearly stronger. Wolverine is definitely strong for a tiny little Canadian. He's superhuman. You could put him in the same tier as your super soldiers like Captain America. Spider-Man is stronger. Like, he's able to easily throw around cars and trucks, even lift subway cars clean over his head. or even private jets. Heck, Peter is able to lift up one of those massive construction cranes, or even basically help support and lift up buildings all by himself. And man, Spidey can also use all that strength and throw one heck of a punch. He's been able to fight against some of his toughest villains, Venom, Rhino, Electro, and punch them clean through buildings. That's just like a regular thing for him. No doubt about it, Spider-Man is significantly stronger than Wolverine. But on the other hand, well, Wolverine is obviously way tougher than Spider-Man. And again, that's not to say that Spider-Man isn't tough. The guy can straight up survive punches from the likes of Hulk and Juggernaut. He knows how to take a hit. No doubt about it, Wolverine is much tougher. I mean, for as strong as Spider-Man can throw a punch, he's not throwing punches harder than the likes of Hulk, or Juggernaut, or Thor, or Namor, or Red Hulk, or all the strongest guys in Marvel. All of whom Wolverine has been able to take punches from before. And considering that really the only thing that Spider-Man can do to try and injure Wolverine is by throwing punches, well, that's not looking too good for Pete. But one thing you can say about Spider-Man is that he's fast. In fact, Spider-Man is legit one of the fastest and one of the most agile street-level characters in all of comics. He's able to move faster than the eye can see, just appear like a blur to even well-trained fighters. He can literally move across miles in just seconds, and forget just simply dodging bullets. That stuff is too easy for Spider-Man at this point. He's legit dodged lightning and dodging energy blasts, even energy blasts that are supposedly faster than light itself. And all of that translates into Spider-Man routinely being able to speed blitz most opponents he goes up against, even with the likes of Black Panther or Daredevil or other master martial artists. Even though they might be more skilled than Pete, Spider-Man is just so much faster that he's going to land his hits anyways. Problem is, Wolverine has just regularly shown off that he's got the speed to tag Spider-Man. Even when no one else can, Logan can get his hits in. Yes, Spider-Man is faster. I think they've both admitted this at different points, but Spider-Man has also complemented Wolverine's speed enough times that you gotta take notice. And Wolverine has also just straight up hit Spider-Man enough times that you gotta admit he's gonna land hits in this fight, regardless if Spider-Man is faster or if he even has his spider sense going full blast. Now, one edge that Spider-Man does have over Wolverine is that he can fight at a distance with his webbing. Just really pour it on and try and restrain Logan enough to where he can't do anything. And if Spider-Man gets enough webs going, I think that could happen. For as strong as Wolverine is, this webbing has held back the likes of Rhino or Venom or significantly stronger characters than Logan. Spider-Man could probably restrain Wolverine here. Of course, what Wolverine does have is the perfect counter to webbing in those adamantium claws. Spider-Man's webbing is nothing to those claws, and they'll slice right through it. It's something that Wolverine has regularly done in their fights. And speaking of the claws, well, Wolverine gets one or two hits in there, and that just instantly swings the fight in his favor. Because while Logan can heal from all the attacks that Spider-Man throws at him, Pete can't heal in the same way. If he's got 3 stab wounds in the gut, well, that's going to obviously affect how he fights from then on. Even if he's able to continue fighting, well, the advantage is now all Wolverine's. So, who should really be winning these fights? Well, like we've been saying, they've fought a lot of times before and both have got their wins. Some of them have been easy wins too, like when Wolverine was trying to talk Spider-Man down when he was actually superior Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man sucker punched him. But Wolverine has also sucker punched Spider-Man before too. He's even straight up sucker stabbed Spider-Man when they were doing a training exercise. Pete nearly bled out right there on the floor. There have been a lot of times where Wolverine has got Spider-Man pinned with his claws. That usually just happens when they're talking and then Logan gets ticked off and decides to attack Pete. And there have been times where Spider-Man has straight up embarrassed Wolverine, leaving him webbed up with his claws stuck against his head and unable to escape. But probably the two most accurate fights between them was the Graveyard fight and then recently in Contest of Chaos. And those fights demonstrated a few things. One, they're equals when it comes to speed and fighting skill. Yeah, Spider-Man is faster, and yeah, Wolverine is the better fighter. But when they fight against each other, well, it's pretty much a wash. Secondly, well, it showed that as of now, Spider-Man's webbing is basically a non-issue. Wolverine knows Spider-Man well enough that he knows how Peter is going to use those webs and he can counter it pretty successfully. Third, well, it showed that Spider-Man has a really hard time putting Wolverine down with his punches. He was just laying there, letting Spider-Man punch him with everything he had, and Wolverine was still just smiling. Logan is nearly impossible to consistently knock out in this fight. So, who's winning here? Well, originally, I thought it was going to be Spider-Man, but now I'm thinking it's more likely it's Wolverine. They're just as fast, and while Spider-Man is stronger, Wolverine is so much tougher that strength advantage doesn't really matter. And if they're both going to land their hits in the fight, well then I'm liking the guy with 3 razor-sharp blades on his fist versus the guy with webs. Wolverine just needs to land one good hit to turn the fight in his corner, while Spider-Man has to fight a perfect fight and not get hit in order to straight up not be killed by Wolverine. And even that might not be enough because Spider-Man just can't reliably put Wolverine down. This fight is very close, a lot closer than you'd think. But if I had to put my vote on someone, well, that someone is gonna be Wolverine. Wolverine wins. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.